Hello and welcome to the City of Games. My name is Frank, and today I'm going to be doing a two-player playthrough of Emberleaf. Now, before we start, just a couple of housekeeping things. Firstly, this is going to be a playthrough. If you'd just like to hear the rules, then there is a how to play video that is also available. And secondly, I'm going to be using a prototype for today's video, so whilst the rules are final, maybe a few of the components may look a little bit different when you have the final game in front of you. But with that said, let's get to the table. You can see over here we have got our white player set up, who is going to be using the B deck, and over here we have our blue player set up, who's going to be using the D deck, and our white player is going to go first. Everything else is ready, so we're going to get going. The first thing I always do as a player is I want to read what favor cards are available and have a look at the board to see if there's anything that's going to combo up. So before taking my turn, have the most war banners, so going down kind of a fighting path, have exactly one boathouse, 2 markets and 3 windmills. Maybe that's a little bit restrictive this early on in the game, but it's a simple enough thing to work towards. It's 9 points, which is going to be great, and maybe if I want to do some fighting, actually limiting how many buildings I'm going to build is not a bad thing. Home at least 2 frogs, 2 owls and 2 rats in the same clearing. That one is very, very hard. It's 14 points. Have at least 1 windmill, 1 house, 1 market and 1 boathouse in the same clearing. So have everything but a town hall, which is quite easy to achieve. And again, not too many points, so probably not an early goal. And then 3 points per boathouse. So maybe I want to work towards that because I could just focus on building lots of boathouses. Let's have a look at our cards. So we have the kind of standard build card that most decks do have this. We've got spending resources to convert them into other resources. We've got an attacking card. We've got a wood gathering card, a walking card, and another wood gathering card that allows you to convert wood into food. So it feels like we're very good at generating wood, which maybe is good for the boathouses because they cost wood, and then the boathouse card. We can't really generate food, but we can convert wood into food. So it's an extra step, but we do have that option. I'm thinking that to start with, though, I quite like the idea of going down a fighting path, and I'm going to try and have these 2 characters go in different routes. There's a nice have the most war banners, so I think we're going to work towards getting that. And we probably just want to go and grab it, but let's start with... Let's set up our board. Let's not really do a first turn. I'm simply going to place Flick here. Flick doesn't do anything when played, but I'm going to play him on the fellowship skill so I can gain a stone. And that's going to simply give me 1 stone, but it's going to get Flick into play, which now means I've got additional wood, food, and a sword icons for my future cards. So I feel like it's a good set me up kind of turn. Our blue player over here, again, the standard build card, a walking and then gathering card, gathering food, spending wood to build, and when you home rabbits, gathering stone, and then an attacking and spending food into stone. So my deck is pretty good at it's really good at getting food. It allows me to get some stone through these 2 cards, and yeah, I think that is going to be good. And what I'm thinking for this player is I like the idea of the home at least 2 frogs, 2 owls and 2 rats in the same clearing, because that's a big scoring card. It's hard to achieve, but if we grab it now, we're going to have the whole game to work towards that. And you know, it's definitely tempting just to run up there and try and get it, but at the moment I don't think there's a rush. It's the 3rd card, so it's not going to go unless someone else takes it. So I think that we're going to start by just starting to gather a little bit of food. I think we're going to play Azalea down here, and I'm going to play Azalea to this side because Azalea's got 2 food icons, which is great to have out for as long as possible. I'm going to gather food per food. With this icon here, that's going to collect me 3 food, and then I'm going to have the walk when I slide, but it's going to keep those 2 icons in play. So as I start playing up some of my other characters, they are going to generate more food. Like if we now played Lila, we're just going to have that higher chance of generating more. So back to our white player who's played out their first card, and I think that I could do an attack. So what I'm kind of considering is maybe we do want to start moving somewhere, getting that war banner thing, because we don't want to lose it, and then we could also do an attack. So maybe we are going to simply walking down to here. So we've actually gained that stone, so we could use that stone now to do a build if we had the resources. So I'm going to put hops over here to give us that ability to get the card back quickly, but we've got an instant build now if we've got the resources. It's going to allow me to walk 2 spaces, and I'm going to simply walk down to this location, and I'm going to take my favor card token, discard that from the game, and I'm going to have the most war banners so we can set ourselves on our fighting track. That's going to be the end of my turn. We're set up nicely. We've got lots of stats on our board. We've got that build action ready to go whenever we want it. We've got our first favor card, and we're going to discard this because the turn is over. We're going to slide these across, and our blue player is now thinking, well, I would like to get this card. It's now at the end of the track, so there is a risk it's going to disappear if I don't take it. And that means that I probably want to, at this point, go and grab it because it's a lot of points, and there's no real benefit to me in losing the potential of getting that. So let us do a walk. And again, if we play Misty, that's going to give us another food stat. And one of the great things about Misty is that she does a small little walk for us, allowing us to move, but when she slides, she gathers some wood. So if we place her over onto this side, we're going to start generating some wood. So I'm going to move up here, also going to take my favor token, discard that from the game, and I'm now going to get myself this objective as well. I always like to just try and get some objectives as soon as possible in the game. Try and get a few in there, because that way you're going to have something to work towards. You don't want to take them once you've done them. You want to take them and then you want to work towards them. So looking at what's just come out, so what we've recently gained, we've got 3 points per boathouse. Again, that could be good for either player. Have at least 3 town halls. Again, could be good. I mean, for us over here, because we want to get 6 different villages in one location, we're probably going to want to come up to here or over here to have some of those bigger regions with more tiles, giving us more opportunity and less risk at getting 6 buildings in. So having 3 town halls would go well with that. Having 3 boathouses would go with that. Having the same number of windmills and houses, perhaps too restrictive at the moment. Have 1 town hall that touches at least 3 boathouses. You've got 1 boathouse here, 2 boathouses here. So that could combo up really nicely. If we were to build a town hall here, and then we just need to build 1 boathouse in one of these 2 spaces. So actually, that works really nicely for our blue player who is trying to home lots of villagers in one area, because then we could build those buildings in this area and double up. So I think both have town halls, and town halls that touch boathouses are great for blue, and then have at least 4 banners from the Hope Breakers, the yellow banners. That could be really useful for our white player. So yeah, I think that our white player is going to start taking their turn, and let's attack. We are down here. We're in the ability to have an attack. If we play Myra, I think at this point, I'm going to place Myra over on this side because I don't want to tie up my fighting card for too long. I need to be able to get it back, and she's only offering swords, which are only beneficial to herself. So I'm going to play Myra. She's going to do an attack, 1 per sword. We've got 2 swords. We're down here. This one has 3 health. We can only take this one. So I'm going to claim that. Get the first 2 points in the game, and that's going to move across. I'm going to claim a reward, and I'm going to take some wood. I'm going to take 2 wood and add it to my resource area, because then what I'm thinking is with that wood, I can now play a wood gathering card. I've got a couple of wood stats down. That's going to give me enough wood, and I've got a stone or a beehive to be able to place my first building. Over to our blue player, and so we've got our free food. We really would like to get have 3 town halls, have 3 boathouses, and have the town hall that touches the least 3 boathouses. I think the town hall that touches 3 boathouses is the optimal kind of thing for us, and that does mean we need to move again. However, unfortunately, we can't move without having Lila in play because Misty's already here, and it is going to cost us. But I think if we play Lila, it's going to give us a sword, it's going to give us an extra foot, which is going to allow us to start moving more, and it's going to generate some food that we can use on Lila to then walk. I'm going to play Lila over here because I think that we're going to gather the resources, and we're probably going to use this walk quite quickly. And in fact, that would work really well for us, because if we play Lila, that's going to generate us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food. Unfortunately, we only have space for 4 of it because we don't want to throw away that beehive just yet. So we're going to take our 4 food, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a food to do a free action to use the walk space. I can walk 2 spaces, crossing over the dangerous area to here. That's going to allow me to finish my movement over here and take that token. Now what I'm thinking is I could use that to take the... do I have 3 points per boathouse, or do I want 3 town halls? It's very difficult because whichever one I take, the other one will slide off and disappear. I mean, we're going to have to build 1 town hall, and we're going to have to build 1 boathouse if we want to complete that. The town halls are harder, but then we'd build 2 town halls for 7 points effectively on top of the one we need to build, and 2 boathouses would be 6 points, but it might be easier to build more boathouses. So I don't know. Let's go for this one. I think it gives us a more set goal. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another free action, because Lila's action can be done twice, to spend another food to do another walk, using her up, which is why I placed her onto this side. And that's going to allow me to also take this one by moving down here and taking the other favor token. So what we've done now as the blue player is we've really kind of set ourselves up. We've said we want to build lots of stuff. We're going to do it over here. We want to build 3 town halls. We want to build a town hall that touches boathouses. So a town hall here, a boathouse in one of these 2 spaces, and then home frogs, owls, and rats in this clearing, and work towards all 3 of those objectives, which is a great start. I mean, we've done what, a couple of 3 turns, I think, and we've already got 3 cards, and we're really kind of well placed for that. That's going to end our turn. This card's going to disappear. This is going to come across. This is going to come across. What's interesting is our blue players now kind of soften the blow a little bit, I suppose, for our white player, because they know that these are going to be around a little bit longer, so they don't necessarily need to rush for them at this point. Have exactly 1 town hall and 5 houses, not any good for our blue player, maybe okay for our white. End the game with 3 beehives, have exactly your home, exactly 3 frogs. Again, that one might work out quite well over here. We need to have 2 in one area, so maybe just a 3rd frog is going to be quite beneficial. Okay, so our white player, who is down here, has just done that attack and has 2 wood and some stuff. So I think that we are going to do a gather, and I think that similarly, we're going to place Poppy over here. Poppy is going to allow us to gather wood based on our wood stats. We've got 1, 2, 3 wood, and it's going to allow us to spend wood to do a walk if we want to. So we are going to gather that 3 wood. That 3 wood gives us 5 in total, 4 in a stone, or 4 and a beehive, allows us to build lots of different things. So that means that one of these woods is spare for the time being. Maybe we do want to spend 1 wood, and then we can move. We can come over to here. That opens up our... yeah, because if we're going to take the Hope Breakers, then we want to be able to clear this one and this one. So this is a good location. I think we are going to also take our favor token, and then we're going to take this card. Because if we're working for the most war banners, working to having 4 Hope Breaker banners feels like that's going to combo up really nicely. So we are going to discard this card at the end of the turn, move these ones across, and now our players really have a few cards in play. They've got things set up, they've got some objectives, and we are going to work towards winning the game. That's the next step. We've done the setup, we've done the first turns, now winning is all that's on our mind. So our blue player is thinking, I can now build a building. The problem they have is that they can build with food, and food is windmills and markets, and their objectives are boathouses and town halls, both of which are resources which I don't have any of. But what I have discovered, which isn't optimal yet, but it may come in well, is let's say, for example, I was to place bumbles here, and that would allow me to do a build. I'm then going to do a simple build where I'm going to spend 4 food, and that 4 food is going to allow me to take a windmill and build it where I am. If I place it over here, it's going to reward me with a beehive. So I'm now going to have 2 beehives, which means I can then do a slide next turn, spend the 2 beehives to build the town hall, placing it here. So they won't be connected, which means it won't be optimal for points, but that gives me a second build and gets that really crucial town hall in as quickly as possible. Because if I don't get that town hall in now, then there's a good chance the white player is going to block it off, and I'm not going to be able to easily achieve this big objective we're working towards. So I now get to home someone. We want frogs, owls, and rats, which means we're not going to be homing rabbits for the time being. I don't really want to be pushing too much into the fighting track, so the owls aren't really too great for me just yet. So then we've got frogs, then we've got rats. Rats are more about generating wood and getting wood. I don't really have the ability to generate wood, and I do need that for my boathouses. So I feel like if I home a rat, that is going to open up a bit more supply of wood for me. That's going to give me a single point for building the windmill. Next time I get to home something, I can get 2 wood, and then I can get a voting card, favor card, and then I can get wood per favor cards, and that might help us build up some of those town boat houses and things that we need to get in play. So by homing the rat, that unlocks the ability to gain an additional villager. Oh, it's tricky. So Galara would help us get even more food, and we could really go down that food route. And then Oren would allow us on slide to use that food to do building. So if we really want to push down the build route, that could be really, really good for us. But I think then we would just be building food buildings, and we're not really going down that path. Tumble allows you to activate the ability of another hero, which is a really good all-rounder, but obviously doesn't have any stats. And then Wisp allows you to gather wood, and you can use that wood to then get stone. And we need stone for our town halls, and we do need wood. So maybe I think Wisp is going to be a good option. That's going to open up our options. We're not going to be just food driven. We are now going to have the ability to generate wood, and we are going to have the ability to gather stone. So that's going to end my turn. These are going to disappear, and our new cards are going to come across. Yeah, I think that it's a difficult one. I liked the idea of taking Oren, because I think that Oren having the food for build would really allow us to push fast-paced building. Dusk could be good because it's just, I mean, maybe Dusk was a better option because Dusk would just give us a nice supply of whatever we need, and maybe I should have taken Dusk. I didn't even really look at him. Dash has just come out that allows you to spend war banners to generate food, and Iron Rack allows you to build and use beehives to reduce the cost of that building, and to spend war banners to do attacks. So that's a really powerful card for attacking, and I think that our white player is quite keen on getting Iron Rack right now. So let's have a look and see what we're going to do. We are over here and we have the resources to build. So I think that it makes sense for us to do a build now. However, I don't think we're going to do another build soon. So I'm tempted to put him here, but at the moment he's got wood. And if I put him there and he slides, he's going to cover that wood. So I think I'm just going to put him there, get him closer to the end, allow us to do that build action. And the question is, what are we going to build? Are we going to spend the wood and the beehive? We could build the boathouse and get ourselves some extra storage. We could build the house and give ourselves an extra space and to be able to build anytime we like using that fellowship skill. I think for us, because we want to push down fighting, and fighting can generate quite a lot of resources, and we don't want to waste turns building when we can clear stuff. So instead, I think I'm going to go and unlock the resource location, because I think having additional resource spaces for us when we don't want to be heavily pushing into the kind of building route all the time could be quite useful. So that gives us 4 extra spaces. I'm going to place it up here because that is going to unlock a bonus stone for us, giving us 2 stone as a reward. And then we get to home someone on it. And I think because we're going fighting, I'm pretty confident that just placing an owl onto that is going to be a good option for us. That one is going to come across, and we now get to take a card. It's very difficult with Iron Rack because I do love a card that can build and attack is great, but spending war banners when we want to have the most war banners and we're also trying to get 4 hope breakers means that we're going to be taking away from our most, and potentially if other cards come out that are about war banners, that is going to limit us a little bit. So what I'm half wondering is, do we use Tumble? Because Tumble then could be used to activate Myra's attack ability, giving us another attacker, but also could be used to activate a build. So similar to Iron Rack, but we don't gain the sword, and the sword of Iron Rack is very useful because at the moment we can only attack for 2. Iron Rack would give us that free. So I'm very, very torn. But you know what? I think for now, we're going to go for Tumble because Tumble is more likely to tumble off the edge. And therefore, we've got less chances of getting him later on, whilst Iron Rack is probably going to be around for a little bit longer. So Dusk is now going to slide off. He's going to move across, and we are moving back over to our blue player. We've got Vin, who is a mighty attacker. So Vin effectively does 1.5 attack per sword, but requires even amounts to achieve that additional spend. And Talon is a great stone creator, converting both wood and food into stone whilst supplying you with those extra stats. So actually, for our town hall builder, Talon is great. For our attacker, Vin is great. So what is our blue player now going to do? They've built that building. So I think what we said is we were going to do a slide. Doing the slide brings Lyda back off, bringing her back to our hand to be able to be replayed. She had used up all of her charges. Bumbles is going to slide, which is going to allow us to do a build. We're going to spend our 2 beehives to build the town hall. So whilst we aren't really necessarily wanting those 2 swords, I mean, they're not going to hurt. They'd be great. They give us that extra option. It means that we've got that town hall in. And now we've got one of our 3 town halls and a town hall that's touching 2 boathouses, which means as long as we get 1 boathouse into one of these building slots, we're not too bad. We need to home something into it. Again, I mean, we could put an owl into it and get another card. And I am tempted to get another card because I think that for the minute... Oh, what do we take though? We took Wisp, didn't we? Who would gather some wood, and she would gather 2 wood plus the 1 wood on our board, which would only be 3 wood. And actually, Azalea is going to come across and cover that wood. So I don't want to. So I'm not going to be able to get a lot of wood. So I think actually, rather than taking another card right now, our best option is to home the rat. I think if we home the rat, unfortunately, we haven't connected these buildings, which means we are only going to get 1 point, but we are going to gain 2 wood. And that now means that when we play Wisp, we'll be able to generate 2 more wood, and we'll have the 4 wood required for that boathouse, and we just need to be able to source out a stone. Azalea is going to come across, and she is going to allow us to walk. I think for the minute, I'm not too worried about walking because I'm happy where we are, and we do want to get that boathouse in. And Misty's going to slide. He's going to get us a wood, which I had forgotten about. So that is an extra wood, but still we don't quite have enough. So what we need to do is get 1 wood and 1 stone, and then we can get that really important boathouse into play. Our white player, on the other hand, is really tempted to do another attack. So they're kind of in a space where they could do a slide now, but I think that doing that slide isn't going to be massively beneficial for them. And yeah, because we could spend a stone to do this build, and everything else, we're going to be able to convert wood into food and food into wood, but we don't have any. So we need to get something to trigger that point. So what I think we're going to do is we're probably going to play Tumble first. And then Tumble is going to allow us to activate another ability. We're going to activate the attack of Myra, which is going to allow us to attack for 2, which is going to then allow us to take this one. And I think we'll take this one because it's a 2 health and it's in range of the blue player, which means that we're taking away some of their options whilst keeping our own options open. We'll place that there. That's 1 of the 4 we need. That is going to give us 2 points. It's going to allow us to progress the track. We could take anything from the next row, but we're going to take wood because we want to be able to use that wood with flick. So we're going to simply take 2 wood, and then we are done. We have done our turn and we're working towards it. We're not quite big glorious goals like the blue player, but we're more about like, let's grab some points as we go and let's get those kind of points during the game going as much as possible. Our blue player is coming back, and our blue player is thinking to themselves, Okay, I need a wood and I need a stone. I could gain a stone by placing any card into this space. But if I place a card into that space, it's just for a stone. And I don't have a card that really has a huge benefit from just doing that. Now, we could do an attack. And if we do an attack, then that would give us a stone and some points. So maybe we just do a nice, simple attack at this point. I don't think that we've got any better ways of generating stone, and whilst we could just place a card there to get a stone, if we do an attack, we get a stone, we get Zora into place, and that means we can start converting food into stone, and we get a few points. So we're going to do an attack, we're going to clear this one off from here. That is simply going to give us 2 points, allow us to take a reward, we're going to choose the stone, and then we're going to add the stone over to our storage area up here. We're going back to our white player, who now has no options but to do a slide. And it is unfortunate because it would have been nice to be able to use that build action of hops before the slide, but we just don't have the resources. So hops is going to drop off. Myra's coming back, allowing us to do more attacking. Flint is going to slide and do nothing. Poppy is unfortunately going to slide and do nothing. Tumble is going to slide and allow us to spend one of our stone and to get a food and a wood, which is going to allow us to start building up some more varied resources. Then Flicker is going to allow us to spend one of those wood to get 2 food, and is then going to allow us to spend one of those food to get 2 wood. And at this point, we've now got our 4 wood and a stone for a boathouse, 4 wood just for a house, and we've got some food as well. So that is looking okay. It wasn't an amazing turn, but we've got our attackers back, we've got some cards back, our space is filled, we're set for another slide, would allow us to do a build, and that's okay. So we're coming over to our blue player. So now we do need to just generate some wood. I think that we are going to use Wisp. And at this point, it's hard because this is our only wood gathering, but we do need to get stone, and we can convert wood into stone. But the question is, are we going to have enough wood to actually get the benefits of that? I guess we will to an extent. I'm kind of tempted to, do we put Wisp over here so that we can get her back and then generate more? But if we put her over here, she's going to be able to convert more stone. But are we going to have the wood in order to do that? And it's tricky because Misty would generate as 1 wood, so we'd only need to get 1 additional wood coming from our cards. But I just don't know if we're going to have it. Maybe once we've homed a couple more rats, but we don't really want to home more rats down here because we need frogs and owls in this space. So that makes it a really tough decision. I don't know if there's a right or wrong at this point, but I do think that getting those 2 stone early would be useful. And we're going to need Misty's wood in order to do it, because by playing Wisp, we're going to generate 2 wood that gives us the 4 wood we need and 1 extra wood. Misty will generate a 2nd wood, allowing us to use Wisp conversion. So I think that that's where she's going to have to go. And then next turn, we're in a situation where we're going to be able to build. Back over to our white player. They're thinking that they could do a build. They could slide and just build, and they've got the resources to do that. Or they could do another attack. They could get this banner, get maybe a beehive for having that banner, which could be really beneficial for them. That would allow them then to use that beehive and these resources to build these houses over here to unlock this space. We were basically restricted to space just now because we weren't sliding as much. So maybe for us, that would actually be a good idea. And it's not going to overfill us with resources. There's no risk of that happening anytime soon. So I think that we are simply going to do an attack with Myra, because that's just great for us, right? We've got 2 swords. We're going to clear this one off. That gives us 2 of the 4 that we're going to need. It gives us 2 points. That is going to trigger the first scoring bonus, and then that is going to allow us to take some resources. We're going to take a beehive, getting that into our storage area. Let's just knock that rabbit back, because I'm a little bit touchy when it comes to these things, and that's going to be the end of our turn. However, we've triggered the voting card or favor card reset. I need to keep using the right word for this one. So these are all going to disappear. We are going to place these ones over here. We are going to take 5 new cards out. So what have we got? Exactly 3 war banners. Have 4 different war banners, which is looking fantastic. Home 3 of each villager types. have one market that touches at least 2 boathouses, and be in Ancient Echoes when the game ends. Okay, so for us, I think that we're going to go all in on the fighting. We're going to go for have at least 4 different war banners. This here allows each player to take one of these. So our white player, being the triggerer, gets to go first. So now we need to have one of each type. We've already worked towards having 2. So we just need a pink and a blue. We've achieved that. 2 more yellows, we've achieved that. And we're well on our way to having the most. Our blue player is looking and they're wondering, exactly 3 war banners could be good, because we haven't really heavily gone into fighting, but we have unlocked some swords, which means maybe we are going to do that. And do we really want to limit ourselves just to 2 more fights? 3 of each villager type is an interesting one. That's really, really hard to achieve. It's worth a lot of points, but one of the challenges is do we want to unlock the villager track bonuses, the last space on each track, or do we want to limit ourselves to only really going like 3 down each track to start with and maybe not getting as many of those rewards? Have a market that touches 2 boathouses? Well, we're already doing enough with that, but maybe that would be okay for us. And then be in Ancient Echoes when the game ends. You know, I think that we are a market that touches 2 boathouses. Again, though, we're not good at generating wood. Why do I keep taking these cards that require stone and wood when we're not brilliant at doing it? I think that for us, let's push for the 3 of each villager type. We are setting ourselves some hard objectives here, because what we've done is we've taken 4 cards which are like 10 to 14 points each, and that means that they're generally a lot harder than some of these lower scoring cards. So our blue player is going all in with these first kind of 4 cards, really trying to push themselves to getting as much as they can from the from that. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. So have the same number of markets and boathouses, have at least 4 banners from the Emberleaf Legion, and have at least 2 banners from the Hand of Vesh. Oh my goodness, we are actually getting a huge number of the dangerous area fighting cards. I think that we've seen pretty much all of them now. So with 80 plus cards in that deck, you never know what's going to come out. So this is really curious for our white player, because they could really go all in on that path, but they might be asking too much. I don't know. The 2 Hands of Veshes when they already need 1 is maybe not too bad for them, and maybe our blue player wants to clear some of that off. But what are we going to do? We are ready to do a build, and I think that it's tricky. I feel like we are just going to do a nice straightforward build. I'm going to put Bumbles down here though, because what I'm thinking is we are so close to having to do a slide, and when we do that slide, we've got no resources to build with. But if we put Bumbles here, we've got 1 more slot that maybe we can use to fill up and get some more resources, using Lila, for example, to see if we can get enough so that when Bumbles slides off, we've got that resource. Well, so if we put Bumbles up here, maybe that just reduces those options just a little bit. So it's just adding some flexibility into what we're doing. But we do want to get that boathouse. So we're going to spend forward, and we're going to spend a stone, and we're going to get that boathouse into play. And I think that we're going to place the boathouse in the obvious place, which is going to be here, because that's going to then connect these up, creating a larger neighborhood for us, which might be beneficial later on and will give us extra points at this time of build. So that is going to be that there. We need 2 frogs and 2 owls in this clearing now. We've got our 2 rats. So I think it's time to go down the frogs route, because again, we don't need the swords just yet. So that's going to put a frog in, allowing us to take a hero. Oh my goodness. So if we took dash, that would allow us to convert our war banners into wood, giving us another way of getting wood. And then maybe the it's already gone now. I was going to say the have just 3 war banners would have been good, but that's well out of our choices. The spending food to build with Oren is still looking tempting to me, because I feel like, okay, we've focused on this for the minute. But once we built those other 2 town halls, then just going man with building out windmills with food could just fill up the board really quickly and get a lot of stuff going. But then with Talon converting resources into stone, but we've got that going on with Wisp to a degree, so do we really need that on top? And then Vin allows us to do some more powerful attacking. And because of the fact we've got these 2 swords, and we're going to get an owl, that would be 3 swords, Vin would be the 4th sword, so we'd always be guaranteed to have 4, which is always going to do an attack of 6. So Vin could be very powerful for us as well, just in doing those bigger attacks that maybe would be helpful later on. So at the moment, I'm very tempted with Orin for mass building of windmills and markets. I am somewhat tempted with Dash just to help reduce those war banners and keep those down. Iron Rack is really powerful for being able to build and to do surprise attacks. And you know what? I think it's going to be Iron Rack. I think having another build card would be very useful for us. It's going to give us a sword and it's going to allow us to build. And then we could spend our war banners if we need to for attacking, because we're not really focused on keeping war banners unless maybe we want to take one of those. But at the moment we haven't. So that is going to finish my turn up. These are going to come across and we are going to score 3 points, which we should add on 1, 2, 3, bringing us back into the tie with our white player. Back to our white player, and they could now do the slide and do that build. And I think that it's probably a good option for them. I mean, we could walk. All I'm thinking is that if we waited one more turn, if our blue player was to build up here, we can maybe jump in and take that last space. But the problem is I know the blue player's got no resources, so they're probably not going to be building for a little while. And then am I just sat around not doing much? We can't do an attack because our attack card and our copy cards are both in play. So we could gather more wood, which wouldn't be the end of the world. I mean, both of our wood stats are there. So if we did a slide first and then did the gathering wood, then we're going to get less wood. So maybe it's beneficial actually to do that first. I'm tempted to gather the wood because whilst we don't need it, again, it's not going to fill us up. And if we play that now, that is going to gain us 1, 2, 3, 4 wood. Whilst if we did the slide first, we'd lose those 2 stats. So I think because we're not in a huge rush, maybe, but let's have a look and see what's going on with these cards over here, because we didn't put out the new ones and we do want to see what our options are going to be. So there's an attacking card there. And Vera could be really useful for us. So if we build, one of the advantages of building now would be that we could take another hero, and maybe that's what we want to do. I think actually, I do think that's going to be our path, because we don't need the wood. What we want to do is really push into our fighting powers. So let's do it. Let's move, let's slide, let's get Flynn going. We're going to use the forward, and we could save the beehive to try and build the windmill to give us more attack. But I do think that having that build space free is useful, because if we get that build space free, we can focus our cards on attacking cards, and we don't need to worry as much about getting a build card. But then maybe we want to save it for getting the town hall. But are we going to get a beehive? We could come up to over one of these spaces and do that build. What have we got? We've got 1 foot. We've only got 1 foot. Yeah, so we couldn't move anywhere. We could move up here. It's not going to be enough. I wondered if we could maybe get up here first, but we can't. So let's just do a build. Let's spend the 4 wood and let's spend the beehive. And I think that that is going to be the best option for us, because that's going to get our house out over here. That's going to allow us to home something. An owl would give us a sword, which would be quite beneficial. But I think at the moment, I quite like the idea of going down the rabbit route, I think, because it's going to work us towards getting another beehive and another favor card. So I think we're going to put a rabbit down. That's going to score us 2 points for having those 2 buildings. It's going to allow us to take another hero. And then the question is, do we want to take Vera or do we want to take Vin? And I think in our instance, we probably do want to take Vin. I mean, ideally, we want both. If we got both of them, that's going to put us in a really good position. But maybe we're not going to have that chance. So Poppy is also going to slide off. One of the things that we also should note is that because we spent a beehive to build that building and Myra's in play, we are going to gather a stone as well. I think maybe I missed that the first time round, but it is in play. Sometimes the handle or the arm of the microphone does block my view a little bit, but hey, that's life. Tumble is going to allow us to spend a stone and that stone is going to allow us to get a food, and it's going to allow us to get a wood, and then we are going to have Flick, who's going to allow us to spend a wood to get 2 food. And now the question is, do I want to spend that food, one of those food, to get 2 wood, or do I want to keep it? Because I guess we just need 4, don't we? So spending 1 still leaves us with the 4. That is going to give us 2 wood. So it's still a gain. We're gaining the additional wood, and we've still got the 4 food. So now we could build the attacking windmill building if we get a beehive. So I'm curious with our white player, sorry, because I'm thinking we kind of want to fill these 2 spaces down here so we can get that trophy for filling the clearing. I'm also aware this is getting close to the bottom, so this trophy is soon going to be up for grabs. But equally, maybe coming up here and building on one of these beehives would allow me to get this town hall out, or getting this out, and that could be a good option. So where's our blue player at? Our blue player is doing quite well. They've managed to get a town hall that's touching 3 boathouses. They've got a frog and 2 rats. So we are going to stay in this area because we do want these buildings, because we want to be able to home as many villagers here as possible by building buildings. We can always use the home and additional villager bonus, or home additional villager bonus, home additional villager bonus, or home additional bonus. There's 4 of those up for grabs to put additional villagers in here to help us achieve this card. But we want to use those for other things if we can, ideally, and that means that we want to fill these spaces. And what I'm looking at is that we've obviously got that 1 space. We're going to slide to do a build. We want to gather resources. The only ability I have to gather resources is going to be Lila, so it makes sense for us to play Lila so we can gain those resources before the slide. Lila, she's going to gain us 1, 2, 3, 4 food. So that 4 food is going to go into our storage, and that does mean that when we do that slide, Bumbles is now going to be able to build. So I think that was well set up for us. I'm not sure if we're going to gain too much else from the slide, but at least that has given us something. So back to our white player. We have now got... We do have an attack card, yeah. I was going to say, we've now got an attack card in our hand, which is Vin, and maybe we want to do another attack, because I'm aware the blue player doesn't have anything in range, so they're not going to be able to attack soon. So maybe this is a good opportunity for us to work towards triggering that trophy, because we could clear this one now, giving us the pink Akari Vortex banner, which we don't currently have for our 4 different types. So that could be quite useful. Gives us another beehive as well. So that would give us a beehive to allow us to build this. Oh, that's tricky, because I was thinking maybe we just want to build so we can try and fill up these spaces, but actually if we do the attack, we can get the beehive that's then going to allow us to do this. But then that last trophy space is up for grabs because we're not in range, which means we have to move and attack. The blue player's not in range, but they do seem quite focused on what they're doing, so I reckon let's play some Vin down, shall we? Let's get that attack going. He's going to do a 3 damage per 2 swords. We've got 3 swords, so we round that down to 2, which means we're going to do 3 damage. We've got enough to clear this one. That is going to give us 1, 2, 3 points, bringing the tracker down, and we are going to take a beehive. And I think that was the right thing for us to do. We've really opened up our board to get lots of cards in play. Our blue player, as we can see, is really struggling. They were kind of greedy in that they built the town hall for the swords, which they don't really need, but they did need to complete that favor card. So what they've done is they've gone so quick into try and get this, oh cool, there's 2 boathouses, let's build a town hall and then get that other boathouse for cheap, that maybe they've punished themselves without realizing it, because they've kind of over pushed into a direction that long term doesn't help them, but does early term kind of give them a few extra points. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Lila, oh, we could walk. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we could spend a food to walk somewhere and then build in that location. We do want to build here, as we've been saying, but oh, we could walk. We could come down here and get a card, but I don't think that there's any favor cards which are kind of like, oh my god, we have to get those right now. So instead, let's just do the slide. Let's get our board a bit more cleared up. That's going to go. Bumbles is going to go, which is going to allow us to spend 4 food. That 4 food is going to give us a windmill. The windmill is going to come down here. we're going to get to home someone. And at this point, the question is, do we want to home a frog, which is going to give us more food, or do we want to home the owl? Because the owl is the other thing that we need to home for our favor cards, and that would allow us to take a hero. Let's just reset the heroes up and see what they're going to be doing. We could take Talon, which is again stone gathering, Willow, which is going to generate loads and loads of wood. Willow is tempting. Willow is really great at generating wood and stone, and we need to build up our town hall, so that could be fantastic for us. Vera is an attacking card. Twitch is a card that allows you to return cards to your hand, which again for us could be really useful because we are struggling with the fact that we don't have these extra slots yet. And then Maple allows you to play another card and gives you loads of stats. Oh, Maple is very tempting. I mean, again, we need to build one of these buildings so we have that space to be able to play Maple, because Maple just absorbs the space but gives you loads of stats to the privilege. And I feel like we've got some good cards because we've got our 1 wood gathering card, a 1 food gathering card, and we've got a good, nice, general mixture is what I'm trying to say. So maybe Maple is going to be good. Maybe we don't want to specialize too much just yet. Maybe, but then this is going to be our 3rd card out of only a potential of 4. And that, I say we don't want to specialize too quick. We're only going to get 1 more card if we're going to get any cards at all. That's going to be part of a set of 3, 1, 2, and 3 points. And then we're going to reset these back up at the end of our turn because we're in the middle of doing a slide. So Zeta's going to come across and allows us to walk. Do we want to walk anywhere? Again, we could come down here and get this, but we want to build this last building, so let's not walk anywhere. Let's gain our 1 wood. Let's move this across. We could spend a food to gain a stone. And we do need to be building town halls. And we need 3 stone per town hall. So I think we are going to spend our food to gain a stone. Wisp is going to spend 2 wood to gain 2 stone. And I think we're going to do that. So actually, that's gone quite well. Not only did we get to build, but we've now gathered 3 stone, which is hard enough to do as it is, which sets us up for building a town hall once we've got 1 more wood and 1 more food. So yeah, I think that's not too bad. Let's reset these ones off, bring this across, and then we are going to jump straight back to our white player. Our white player is thinking, if I come over here, I can steal this space and get a favor token, and there are definitely some favor cards I would like. So do I have the ability to walk up here and build? I've got plenty of resources, and what they're thinking, oh, they have got hops in their hand, and hops is fantastic for hopping over and stealing locations from people. So we are going to play hops, place him down. He's going to allow us to do a walk of 3. Who knows what our plan was, but we're walking over here. Our blue player is furious because now our white player is going to spend a stone, activating hops, spend a stone to build anytime free action, and he is going to take his 4 food that he just so carefully stored up and a beehive, and it's going to say, you know what, I'm going to place this windmill down here. Fine, I'm only going to get 1 point for building it, but I am going to get to take the trophy. So one of the things you need to be really careful of, one of the things you need to be really careful of is that players have the ability to do this. You know, if you're just going to leave that 1 space and you leave it there for too long, you might have to be mindful that if someone's next to you, they're going to have that opportunity to grab it. If they've got lots of resources and they're next to you and you're leaving 1 space for them, be very, very cautious. So we don't mind about what we're homing right now. So we could home something to gain another card. And are we going to go all out attack? Are we really going to push? We could take Vera and really just go, hey, 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 we are fighting through to our core. Or we could take Digger, who's going to give us additional swords. So maybe we want to do that. Or do we want to just home an owl? Homing an owl will just give us another ongoing sword, and maybe that's going to be better for us. And you know, I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're just going to home an owl. We're going to place an owl on here. We're going to gain 1 point that is going to trigger that. Then we are going to take our favor token. We're going to remove that. And I think we're going to take the two-hand of Vesh because this is going to be tricky. We don't have any yet. They are the hardest ones to get, but we need one. So what we're effectively saying is a +1 on top of the one we've got is going to then give us another 9 points. But we are now pushing because we need 2 more Hope Breakers and 2 more Banners of Vesh. And that is not going to be easy for us. That ends our turn. Because we field the clearing at the end of our turn, we get to take a trophy. And it's tricky because I'm thinking to myself, I really do want that beehive. I would love to get some more beehives. I could come over here and build. I've kind of abandoned this area for now. Maybe I'm going to come up here, grab that other beehive and get this town hall out. That does give them a beehive, but I need it. And right now, you know, for me, that is beneficial. And I don't mind if I'm helping the other player if it's also going to help me. So I'm going to get a beehive. They're going to get a beehive. I'm going to collect 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And that's going to be the end of the trophy phase. We passed the score bonus phase. I'm going to get 1 stone per 2 favor cards. I've got 4 of those, which means I'm going to get 2 stone. And our blue players got 4 of those. And that means they're also going to get 2 stone. So now they're thinking to themselves, I wish I hadn't have spent all of those other resources to get stone. I didn't think that this was coming up just yet. And now I've got loads of stone, but we do need to build 2 town halls. And those 2 town halls means that we need 6 stone. So maybe that's not too bad. The other thing the blue player is thinking as they kind of begin their turn is, I got 2 rats, a frog and an owl, so I need to home 2 more people here. The only way I'm going to be able to do that now is by using the home additional bonuses. And there's 1 there, and there's 1 here that may or may not happen. And then this one I've got no guarantee to get, so maybe I need to be able to get that frog out. Maybe I need to get 2 frogs out to use that bonus and that bonus. But I want to eye up the board because I can see that that attack track has been open for a while and I now need to move. I've got my 2 swords. So can I move somewhere and do an attack and steal that off the white player? They were greedy and they took my trophy from building. So are they going to be able to move? It doesn't look like they've got anything to move and attack straight away. So maybe we can get ahead with them. Can we walk somewhere? And then can we do an attack? And oh, it's difficult because we've got Maple, and Maple would allow us to play another character, but that's not going to give us the walk. Lida's going to allow us to walk. So maybe Lida's the card because Zora's our main attacker, but then we've also got Iron Rack that would allow me to spend that War Banner to do this. So maybe that would be our way. We want to get Iron Rack into play, but before we can get Iron Rack into play, we need to be in range of a dangerous area, which means we need to walk, and we do need to get some food. So maybe this is going to be less efficient than I would like, but we're going to play Lila. Lila's going to gather us some food. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 food, but I think I'm only going to take 2 of it. I'm going to keep 1 for building a town hall, and then I'm going to keep 1 for triggering the walk ability in a minute. But I don't want to let on and kind of raise concerns over what I'm trying to achieve. They may think I'm just simply trying to get some resources to do a building. So let's stay here, and then next turn we can move up. We can do a big attack, clear one of these, and hopefully try and grab that War Banner. White player, what are we going to do? We have got no ability to build where we are. We can gather. We've got 2 gather cards in our hand, or we could do a slide. And maybe we want to slide because we want to get our attack cards back. All 3 of our attack cards are in play right now. And I think a slide will give us a good amount of resources. So we're going to need to do some walking, and we need to put this card in play to walk. Right now, though, I think that we're okay where we are. So I think we're just going to do a slide. We're going to do a slide, and we don't really mind what we're building. So the more resources we have, the better. Let's break that stone down into a food and a wood. Let's spend 1 wood to get 2 food, and then let's spend 1 of those foods to get 2 wood. And then we've just gained a whole bunch of resources. Again, we've got this nice little engine going, which is just kind of like generating some resources for us and a nice mixture of resources where I don't really mind too much about what I'm gaining or what I'm doing, but what I am doing is just getting a nice mixture that's allowing me to build some stuff up. So that is them done. They're also now set up for Vin, so when you do this slide, you're going to get to do an attack for free. Everyone gets to do that attack though. So again, you've got to be mindful of when we do that next slide, who's going to be where. Our blue player is coming back and they are thinking, this is it. We are going all in. Oh, and the choices and decisions though, they're so difficult because the thing with Ironrack is we just said about playing him to do the attack, but if we do play him, he does a build, but we don't have the resources to do a build, and it feels so wasteful to play a card to not use his ability. Oh, I really I guess what we could do, just to make it less painful, is we could spend this on Lila. Lila can then move up to here. This is giving us a movement of just 2, but this clears, it's clear anyway. It allows us to move up there. Then we'll play Ironrack onto here to gain a stone, which is not as great as a build, but we couldn't build. At least we've got a stone back, which is using up that space that we've got. Then we are going to spend our war banner on Ironrack to do an attack. We're going to do an attack of 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going to be able to clear whatever we want. We know our opponent is after yellow, so let's take those yellows, and that's going to score us 1, 2, 3, and it allows us to trigger the trophy at the end of our turn. So even though the white player came over and stole this, which maybe wasn't great for them because now they're kind of stuck over here and there's nothing they really want to be doing, our blue players now managed to recover that by moving up here and taking the trophy back through other means. So that is the end of their turn, and they now get to choose what trophy they want. And I think for our blue player specifically, the homing an additional villager is actually going to be the most important one. It's not going to be giving them points, but at least it's going to allow them to start claiming what they need to be claiming over here. And what I'm thinking is, oh, it's difficult because I guess it's an owl. I was going to say we could home a frog, but if we home a frog, it's going to give us food. And again, we don't want to be throwing away our stone. But I think if we take the owl, that's going to give us another sword. We do need to get another owl in this area anyway. We could then put the owl onto that town hall that gives us our second town hall out of the 3 we need, saving us the need to spend all of the stone that we've just spent all of this time doing. But, oh, maybe we don't want to do that though. Because if we take the house, it's going to give us an extra point. And whilst the town hall is great because it's allowing us to work towards the town hall, we've got all the stone. So what are we going to do with that stone if we don't need to build a town hall? So no, let's take the house. Let's place that on there. That's going to increase the points we get to 4 rather than 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And you know what? I think, despite the fact that the town hall maybe would have been a more valuable thing, that is an extra point. And we're still going to put 1 extra guy down here, which we could still put onto town hall, because if there's only 1 here, yes. So when we put our other frog, then cool, we could have put it on the boathouse or the town hall for the same amount of points, but that gives us that town hall. So I think that that is the optimal way of us doing that. That's given us our points, it's given us our benefit. Our other player gets a stone for the privilege of us taking that trophy, and it's back over to them. And no, first we've got to reset the dangerous area track, haven't we? We have cleared these all off. We are going to bring out new dangerous areas. And from now on, whenever the dangerous areas come out, they are going to come out on the harder side. So maybe this is going to work well for our white player because they've just managed to get 1 of their attack cards back, and new attack areas or dangerous areas are going to come out within range. So let us see what they're going to get. There is a single 1 health one, which isn't ideal, but it is a yellow hope breaker, which is going to be beneficial for them because they need that. There's another hope breaker over here. We've got 2 hands of Vesh coming out over here, and then we've got the Broketooth Legion. So this is really interesting now because our white players now got the ability to do some attacking without having to move, which is great for them. That's going to help them. Obviously, they've got lots of resources. This area is filling up, so maybe they want to come back down here and to fill this area up. Our blue player probably wanted to come over here and do that, but they were so fixated on getting that attack, which I think was good for them. But our white player could come back down here now, gives them access to the Hopebreaker, gives them access to the Hand of Vesh, puts some close proximity to the other Hand of Vesh. But do they want to grab this one first? They do need 2 more, and maybe we're not going to see any more. And this is going to be very easy for the blue player to snipe. So it's very difficult because we could play this card right now and just clear that off. But equally, we've got 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess we've only got 3 swords, haven't we? So we couldn't actually clear this one anyway. Funnily enough, despite the fact that we've really pushed into this route of fighting, we haven't actually gained many swords yet. Oh, that is tricky. That means we need a beehive. So we were trying to get one of these 2 beehives. We do have the resources to build. Our blue player still doesn't. So maybe we need to walk. Maybe we just want to go around for a little bit and see if we can find a way to try and get up there and build on that beehive and get that beehive, build up our town hall, making us gain those 2 additional swords. That's going to put us in a really good place. And I think that's our option. We've fallen a little bit behind right now. I think that we're struggling a bit. But bringing Poppy in is simply going to gain us a single wood. But we can use this wood now to do some walking. And I think that's going to be our options. So let's spend that wood and bring that over to here. That is going to allow us to walk. That's going to allow us to walk up to 4 spaces. Oh, so maybe we want to play it safe. Maybe we're going to walk over to here. And then we're going to come over to here because we don't want to be competing for that beehive. We don't really care if they gain that beehive, but we do really want a beehive ourselves. So I think that we're going to do the 4 walk to get over to here. And then we could claim the favor card if we want to. So let's reset these up and have a quick look at what comes out. One of the challenges when you're trying to commentate and just switch back and forth is you do forget to reset the cards sometimes because I'm just trying to keep the flow going, but we'll always get to them when we need them. Home at the most villagers. Have the most houses. Those are not really great for us. Have the same number of markets and boat houses. That's something that we could really easily work towards because we're not massively caring about buildings. We've got a boathouse, so we just need to build a market and then that's going to be achieved. Have 4 banners from the Broketooth Legion, I think is just going to be too much for us. We've got 1 so far, so that's going to mean we need 2 Hopebreakers, 2 Hands of Vesh, and 3 Broketooth Legions. There's no way we're going to do that. So let us take this one instead. Let's try and get our markets and boat houses to be nice and equal, and that's going to push up our favor cards and get us going. We're in a space to get the beehive. Let's get the beehive, build the town hall, maybe build something else just to get our space a bit more cleared up. Then we can go out on a massive fighting spree. We're going to have loads of extra swords. Maybe we get the owls out as well to get some more. Then work towards the 3 points per different type of war banner. We're definitely going to get all 4 of them out there anyway. Maybe we want to try and get another card just to give us even more options. Maybe Twitch allowing us to return 2 of our attack cards back to our hands is going to be great. But I would like to see some more swords in our options. Okay, we're going to move this one across. We're going to bring these over and let's have a look because both players still have some favor tokens on the board, and I think that our blue players liking to have the most villagers because they can see that they are getting a lot of villagers out whilst our white player isn't. And that could be really, really key for them just to get some points without having to worry too much. But let's see what our blue player is going to do. They are going to have to slide. So we really greeded up a little bit recently to try and do some of the stuff we've done. The slide is coming in. So that's going to allow us to walk. And that walk is going to allow us to move 1, 2 spaces. Now, really, I would like to come down to here and try and fill in this area. I think that would just be beneficial because I haven't taken this yet and there's only 2 spaces. The problem is that walk, I think we're in a really tight space for resources because if I don't, this is going to give us a wood. And that wood plus that food plus stones is going to allow us to build a town hall and claim that beehive. However, If I walk to here, I could then spend my food to do a secondary walk with Lila that would allow us to get to here. But we won't have the feet anyway because they would have dropped off. So don't worry about it. Ignore me. We're not going to walk. We're going to stay still. Instead, we are going to dump 1 stone for 1 wood. We're then going to move this. We're not going to spend the food into stone or the wood into stone because we have got far too much stone. Lila's going to come across. Iron Rack's going to come across. Simple little turn. It gave us enough to give us exactly what we need to build the town hall, to generate a beehive, and to get us going up in this area as well. I'm now mindful for our blue player that you get 2 points for every area you've built into. We've focused in one area so far, so we want to expand our reach just a little bit. We're going back to our white player. Our white player, I think, is now in a situation where they are going to build. We want to get that beehive, which means we don't want to use this beehive. What do we want to build? We could build a boathouse, or we could just build a house. We want to have the same number of markets and boathouses. We probably don't want to build a boathouse because that means we're going to have to build more markets. So I think we're simply going to build a nice general house that's going to cost us 4 wood for the privilege, and we're going to simply place it down onto this beehive space. That wood gives us a beehive, and it's going to give us the ability to home someone. And who do we want to home? We just said about maybe doing the owls because that is going to give us some stone, and that would give us 3 stone, and then we'd get another sword. Maybe we don't need to do that yet. The rabbits would allow us to move towards a voting card, but maybe the frogs and the rats, because that would then allow us to take another card, and another card could be quite useful. We've only taken 2 so far, and that would give us that ability to attack. But I'm also thinking that over here, there's home exactly 3 rabbits. And maybe, because we're not working towards having lots of villagers, we're never going to have a big neighborhood. So having 2 points per villager in your largest neighborhood is not going to be great for us. And that other beehive from the rabbits could be useful for us. But actually, you know what? We've got the 2 that we really needed now for our town hall. We've built these up. I don't know if we need the resource gathering from these 2 just yet. So actually, that says to me that we don't care about the last 2 rabbits, which means we probably want to home exactly 3 rabbits, which means we probably want to work towards that, so that if we home the 3rd rabbit, that gives us the favor card to take that and to be able to claim it. So for now, let's just do that. That's going to give us 1 point. That is going to be the end of our turn. We're now positioned where we can do that second build, and we've got the build action to do it, to place the 3rd rabbit, to take the 3 rabbits, and then we've achieved another objective without having to really do too much. Our blue player is coming back. They're ready to build their town hall. How are we going to build it? I would love to have got Russell out, but we just don't have the ability. So we could play Maple. Interestingly, if we played Maple to then generate Bumbles, it's going to give us those extra stats and get them out onto the board. The problem is we're still not really... We just don't have the space. We need to build something. We haven't built any of our special buildings apart from the one that we're just not using. And it's just insanity, really, because we don't have the spaces. We don't have the resource spaces, and we've not really given ourselves the ability to generate those extra resources because we focus so much on our favor cards. But I do think that now we've got 2 owls, a frog, 2 rats. We know we're going to get the home additional. That additional is going to allow us to put the other frog onto the town hall to give us 2 town halls. We're about to build our 3rd town hall. That is going to mean that these 3 are all done. We're focusing on our top card, and maybe at that point we can chill, we can relax, and we can focus a little bit more on just trying to sort out this mess rather than just playing it greedy the whole time. But for now, let's keep being greedy. Let's do a build. Let's spend a food. Let's spend a wood. Let's spend our 3 stone, and we're going to get that town hall out. Getting that town hall out over here is going to give us another beehive, and we are well placed to build these buildings once we've started generating that extra resource. With the town hall, who are we going to home onto it? It's very tempting to home the rat to take the most villager favor card. I am tempted to do that but it's not too close to the edge, so it's not going to go just yet, and I don't think the white player is going to take it. So maybe we home the frog, because if we home a frog, that's going to give us 2 resources, and those resources are going to help us, because with 2 food from that, maybe an attack to clear off one of these, get some more food, that will then allow us to maybe build the market or to build the windmill over here to start freeing up some of that space. So I think we're going to home that frog. The other reason for doing this, and I'm going to try and keep remembering to lie them down, is one point, is that we are going to put another frog on here once we have passed this line. Once we home that third frog, that allows us to home another villager for free. So that's kind of a worthwhile path for us to be going down. I think that we're just going to do that, take our 2 food, and we are going to come back over to our white player. And our white player is thinking to themselves, okay, we can build that town hall. Everything has been working towards that town hall building. What do I want to do? And I think that the option is to play Flick, because Flick has got no on-play abilities, does have a sword. So if I play Flick onto the build space, it doesn't lose anything, and it does give me the extra stats. I can then do that to do a build, spend the 2 beehives that we've so carefully been collecting, get the town hall, place it here, so we're kind of splitting down the middle to block the blue player from getting too much on either side. That's going to finally give us our 2 swords. Then what are we going to do? We said about homing a rabbit onto it. I believe if we home the rabbit onto it, that's going to score us 2 points for the 2 different types of buildings, take the home exactly 3 rabbits, and we've already achieved that. So we need to get back to focusing on fighting, because what we have done is we've now kind of stopped fighting, taken all of these fighting things and really not been working towards it too well at all. Miner's Rest and Greenleaf are both full, so that's up here and up here are filled at the end of the game. That's going to be tough with the current game state, and have exactly the same number of buildings in 2 different clearings. That could be fantastic for both players. It's over to our blue player now. And our blue player is starting to think to themselves, I'm falling behind. I've really focused too much on getting those big favor cards out. I've not set myself up very well. And now I don't really have anything I'm working towards. I don't have the space to be able to work towards anything. And I've got 2 less favor cards than the other player. So even though mine were worth more, I probably have less points than them on what I've got available. So 1 space left. I would love to do a build. I don't have the ability to build. My build cards are, well, it's over here, so it's miles away. So I'm going to probably have to do a slide. The question is, if I slide, what am I going to be getting my slide for? I really would like to get some food. Maybe we want to get Azalea into play so that we can then get the food, but then we don't have the ability to do anything with it. So I think, though, I think we're going to have to do a slide. We're just going to have to clear ourselves up a little bit, refresh. Let's take a breather, move Zor. We're not going to spend the food to gather a stone because we don't actually need that stone anymore. We're going to slide Wisp. And again, we're not got any wood. Sliding to do nothing, sliding to do nothing, bringing Bumbles back across to give us access to that build. So we're going to have to do 2 slides before we can do a build. And we're going to have to generate the resources for that. But I think that we're kind of in that, like, cool, we had a great start, let's just kind of reset and set a new direction and try and work out where we're going to go with the rest of the game. Whilst our white player, they are about to go on a killing spree. They know what they need to do. They need to clear this, they need to clear this, they need to clear this. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swords right now in play. The question is, do they have the ability to get in range of this over here? Because this would be fantastic. They could walk, but they need a wood to be able to do that walk, which means I think that we're just going to have to do a little bit of walking. Or do we want to just do a basic attack? You know what, maybe we do a local attack that's not really going to benefit anything from over here, but it's still going to give us a bunch of points, and it's going to give us that wood to allow us to walk. So let's do that. Let's play Sprout, and we're going to play Sprout onto the attack space. Sprout then can do an attack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got something over here with 5 health. It's all going to help towards our most war banners. I mean, I think we're going to have that quite clearly, but that's going to give us 4 points. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It's also going to bring this down here. It's going to trigger the home additional. It's going to get me the 2 wood. If I take the 2 wood, I can place them over here, and then I'm going to spend 1 wood immediately on Poppy to do a walk action. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet. So we've really built up this very like easy to move around character. But I think we're simply going to move down here because this gives us range to this, it gives us range to this, and it gives us range to those if we were to want them. And I think these are our two core targets right now that we're working towards, especially the 6, because that's going to be really important to clear off whilst we've got the swords on our board. And yeah, I think that's it. So we now get to trigger the home additional bonus. It's coming over to our white player first, and they're kind of thinking, well, I don't want to home rabbits because I've done that. My owls are going to generate me some stone right now and then another sword, which we do want to do, but I'm not in a rush to do that. So frogs or rats, maybe start working down one of those paths. The rats would allow me to get another favor card and generate a bunch of wood for my favor cards. Could be quite beneficial. Frogs can allow me to do food and homing additional people I'm less worried about. So maybe go down the rat path. Let us take a rat. We can home it somewhere as an additional free action. Where can we place it? These aren't connected to anything. It's not going to score as points. Not connected to anything. It's not going to score as points. So we could place it here. That would score us 2 points. However, I'm mindful when we get to this will score us 2 points per area. So if we actually were simply saying, well, we're coming over here, we're not going over here, let's place it over there. That's just going to score us 1 point for now, but an additional 2 points when we get there, which is still 1 more point than if we just placed it in that location in the first place. Our blue player is now going to get to home an additional person. This is the moment they've been waiting for. They're going to get to take their frog. They're going to place it down here. We've got our 2 frogs. We've got our 2 owls, we've got our 2 rats. That's going to score them 1, 2, 3, 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. It's then going to allow them to home an additional villager. Now, strangely, I could now home my frog and get a load of food. Well, not a load of food. I guess it's only 2 food, but that would give me enough to do a build. Oh, that's really tough because having that ability to do that build would be really nice right now. It's going to save me a whole action to get that frog out, but we need to have 3 of each villager type, so that's not really going to be what we want. Maybe we want to home the rat. That's going to let us take a favor card. Have the most houses. I mean, we could work towards that. Home the most villagers is definitely something that's going to be really good for us. So maybe homing that rat would be great. But maybe it's time to home the first rabbit and get that 4th. Yeah, you know what? We are 100% doing that. I know what we're doing. We've got our plan. We're going to take the rabbit and we're going to home the rabbit. We're going to put the rabbit over here because you know what? It's going to be 4 points for us. I don't think there's a benefit to put it elsewhere because those 2 points plus 1 point is only 3. Is it really helping us being elsewhere? I don't know if it's going to. I'm changing my mind. Am I changing my mind? No, let's keep it there. That's going to score us 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. That's going to keep the pressure on the white player. At the moment, we're keeping up. Despite the fact that they're doing a lot of fighting, we are keeping up. That's going to let us take a hero, and we're going to take BIM. BIM allows us to spend food to do buildings on slide. And we've just said our problem is we need to do a bunch of slides to be able to do any building. So let's just do that. Let's get that card out. That's the end of the home additional step. That's the end of the white player's turn. These are now going to reset. Our blue player now has all of the heroes they're going to be able to get. Our white player does have the ability to get 1 more, which means these are the final options for them. But it is now our blue player's turn. I think they're going to play BIM. And I think they want to get BIM into play. They really, really want to get some wood. They really, really want to get some wood. So maybe, they want to get some wood so they can start building up those other buildings. It's very tricky. It's very tricky because we also want some food. If we just get 2 food, that's going to allow us to build. And maybe that is the starting place right now. We're going right down that food generation system, and then we'll get some sub wood to get the extra resource space and then build. So you know what? I think that this is our option. We're going to play good old Maple. Maple's going to just allow us to play another character who's going to allow us to play Azalea. Azalea is now going to generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food, which is a massive, massive amount. And I think that we are going to actually dump those 2 stones at this point. We've got our town halls. I'm not so worried about them. I think we are just going to start really, really pushing down this path of let's just build stuff up and push the game through and see if we can gain a few extra things whilst doing so. So that is going to give us loads of food. Now we are in a point where we can use food to pay for buildings and start getting some of this built and giving us those extra spaces. So I think that's a great setup phase for us. Back to our white player, 1 card in our hand, the perfect card, activate another ability of another character. We're going to be able to activate the attack of Vin, who's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swords, which means he's going to do an attack of 9 damage. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Maybe we should have come over all the way over here with that last move, but it's okay. We're going to clear off that hand of Vesh. That's going to easily clear that, scoring us 5 points. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, getting the beehives, and it's going to give us a reward. And I think we're going to take food because we've got 2 food, so having more food is going to help us. Both players are going to get a beehive, and this is funny because our blue player now is thinking, I don't know, I just don't have the space for it. I've got 2, and I'm going to spend 1 and 4 food, but I need the other 2 food to trigger the build to be able to use the first 4, and I really just need some wood. So I think that our blue player, this is the wrong one. Let's move these ones back. That could have been disastrous. Sorry, that was the white player. The blue player should, I don't think they're going to take it. I don't think they can take it. Our white player's board is full. Our blue player's turn is coming up. And oh my goodness, what are we going to do? I mean, so my plan now really is to get our slider in place. I think that's what we have to do. Bim's not going to do anything for us for playing, but at least now on the next slide, finally, we could do a build. Although if I don't play Bim and I just do a slide, that's going to bring Lider back, that's going to give us options. It's going to bring Iron Rack back, that's going to give us options. And then next turn I could slide to do the build. So yeah, I think that is going to be the best option for us after all of that. Actually, I think that is going to be better, and then allows us to move 3 spaces twice. Maple can walk 3, and then Azalea can walk 3. And where are we? We're over here. So ideally, we'd love to come and take these 2 favor tokens, but that's going to require more than a walk of 3. However, we could try and fill up this space, and I think that's it. We're going to move to here with the first walk. With the second walk from Azalea, we're going to move down here. That's going to allow us to take our favor token. We're going to get that home the most villagers, which we are working towards, and then we can now try and build these up. Our next turn, we're sliding, building 1 building. Then all we need to do is get 1 more building in there, and then I think we're good. So yes, for our blue player, they maybe are going to get that other trophy. It's been sat there for a while. No one's wanted to take it. But now I think that that is going to be our best option. Have 1 windmill that touches 2 windmills. I mean, we're about to build windmills. And there's a windmill here. So if we built 2 windmills here, that would give us the trophy, complete that favor card, and get us this building out here as well. So maybe for the blue player, that is going to be really good. Have the most windmills as well. Feels like now we're going down this mass windmill path is going to be a good option. Our white player has no options but to slide. They are going to slide, and they are going to bring this across. They are going to, which is going to do nothing. They're going to bring this across, which is going to allow them to do an attack of 3. And they have very carefully positioned themselves here, which is going to allow them to do a 1, 2, 3. And it's going to allow them to take some more resources. This time they're going to take some wood. So they're going to take 2 wood. We're going to put that over here and over here. Then the blue player can do an attack of 3, and unfortunately there is nothing in range of them, and they could have thought about that in advance. Maybe they should have thought about that in advance, but they didn't. We're then going to slide this, it does nothing, slide this, it does nothing, slide this, it does nothing, slide this, it allows us to turn a stone into a food and a wood. And you know, I think that our white player now, this is what I was saying earlier, we need to get that resource space, because we are actually now really just generating resources without much purpose. Spend a wood to get 2 food, and then spend a food to get 2 wood, and I don't know, maybe we're just going to stay down that path. Equally for us, having the most windmills now is seeming like a good option. The Sprout's going to go, do we want to convert the rest of that wood into food? Maybe going down the windmill route would be good for us as well. And really push out what the options are. I think, but we want to keep the woods for Poppy. So I think we're going to convert one of them into food. And then that is going to give us the ability with Poppy when she's out to be able to do additional walks. Okay, so that is us done. We are coming back over to our blue player. And our blue player, they want to get that build. So they could just slide to do the build now. And I think that that's the starting point for them. I think they need to get that space so that they can unlock an extra space, get more cards out, and then generate some wood to build the boathouse building to then be able to really start pushing. So we are going to slide. And I think we're now coming to that point with the blue player where they've managed to kind of get back on track. We've had a little bit of downtime because we've not done too well in the last few turns. We focused a bit too much early on, but now we're starting to get to where we want to be. We've got our windmill, it's touching another windmill, and we're going to be able to home someone onto it. We need to get free of everything out, but I think right now, nothing else is going to help us, but let's get the rat, because if we get the rat out, that is going to get us the ability to get wood per favor cards, and that's a good source of wood for us. So that's going to give us a single point for the rat, and then we're going to get to take a voting card, and I think we will take the windmill touching 2 windmills card. Interestingly enough, though, our white player has now seen this. There is 1 building space. Will they be able to come in and claim it for a trophy, and will they be able to come in and block off that windmill touching windmills building? We will see. Our blue player can do a walk and a walk, but they have got no reason to leave where they are. This is going to come off, and these are going to come back across. I think that home at least 3 rats in markets, home the most villagers in at least 2 clearings. Again, something that could work quite well for our blue player. But I think our white player now, again, is like, can I come down and do this? The problem is they've got 2 attack cards in their hand. Their build card has got stone on it. Their walk card's got wood on it. So this time around, I think that the blue player is safe for the time being. Now, it's possible that our white player could work towards it because they can see the blue player's not got the resources. So could we come down and try and take it next turn? But you know, we've got our own challenges. We need these banners, and I think that we really want to focus whilst we're here and we're in a good position to be able to focus on them. I think that we do want to focus on them. So instead, our white player is going to be kind and just do an attack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to clear out the Hope Breakers banner, giving us 3 of those and 3 additional points. 1, 2, 3 points, taking a reward. And this time, I don't think we mind, because we really should be building. Like, again, we spent this idea, we said we're just going to attack, and we know that we're generating resources that we're not really going to be able to use, but that's okay, because that's not our focus. Our focus is fighting, and we can see this gap is starting to widen because we know the blue player is going to really cash in at the end of the game. So we need to widen this gap now and get as far ahead as we can. We also know that we've built in lots of different places, so this is going to be good for us. Maybe building one building over here first is going to help us with that, but That's what we're doing for now. We're not going to take the reward. We are happy with what we've got, and we're probably going to do another attack and do the same thing once again. Our blue player is now thinking, I need to get this built. It needs to be a windmill. I need to get some resources. What can I do to gather some food? I could play Lila. Lila is going to be our best option for sure, I believe. We're going to play Lila down, and she is going to generate us lots and lots of food. We're going to place her over here, actually, because we don't need this extra one. I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but I don't want to cover the wood because I want to get that boathouse built, and I really want to keep that wood symbol out for our future turn. So let's do that. Let's just take the 4 food. That is going to situate us in a position where we can now just get that windmill built next turn. Then we can come back and build the boathouse. Then I think we're going to be in a fantastic position. Our white player is now going to be able to do another attack. The problem is that they really want to be able to kill this, but they're not in range of it, and they don't have the ability to move. So our best option right now, in all reality, is to slide. I don't think there's a rush in just clearing stuff for the sake of clearing it, because we're going to give the blue player the opportunity to steal the trophy from us, even though we know that they don't want it this turn. But next turn, we're going to have to slide. So I think that actually, let's get ourselves some options. Let's get a slide going. Let's get our movement and our build cards back into our hand. Let's line Flint up for the slide. Again, we don't mind about converting resources just yet. Like, it's not a great turn for us, but I think that we know what the blue player is currently working towards, and we don't want to kind of have them muddy our waters. Let's play our own game. Let's try and get something built so we get those extra 2 points when we build it. Then let's try and go for a walk. Let's try and get something else built maybe. Then we can clear this off. We know the blue player is not going to be able to clear that. They don't have the swords for it, but they do have the abilities to do those. So we want to be kind of cautious about the tone that we're setting in the game right now, being mindful of their decisions. Our blue player is desperate just to build. They are too afraid that anything else is going to happen, so they're simply going to play Bumbles over here. Probably not the best location because the card's going to be too far off, but it is going to allow them to get that windmill out. And we're going to place the windmill, placing it down here. And then what are we going to home on it? We need 3 of each villager type, and that means that we need 2 more rabbits and an owl. So placing a rat right now is not going to help us in the slightest with achieving this card. But what it will do is it will give us the wood to build the boathouse, and I think that is a risk worth taking at this point. We're going to take that 1 point. It's going to give us 6 wood, and I think that right now that is just really what we need to be doing. I think more than anything, we just need to get that wood. And in fact, we're only going to take 5. We'll keep the other 2 food because we're now going to get this built up, and that is going to help us keep going. And now we can claim a trophy, and we could have taken the wood from the trophy. I didn't consider that. We could have taken the wood from the trophy, but you know, the white player is starting to get ahead, and I think that the 8 points for us right now is probably going to be the best bet. That helps bring us back into the race. We're not falling behind too much, and it's going to allow us to kind of get set up. So I've got some good ideas on what we're going to do for our next turn with the blue player. But first, our white player. They are now back in a position where they could start some building. Funnily enough, they could come down here now and build, but it's a little bit too late. But instead, what I think they're going to do is they don't want the blue player building elsewhere as well, because that's going to trigger points for them. So maybe, do they want to? I think we could do an attack, but maybe we just do a build. Maybe we just do the build first. It's going to clear up a lot more of our board, which I think is also going to be helpful. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's clear off. Let's get Flint going to do a build. And I don't really mind what we're going to build. We're not too fussed. But, you know, I think that we might as well build our fellowship market just to use... No, let's keep the beehive in case we take another card. Let's just use the... Let's just use 4 food. I think that we're not too worried about resources. It's not really our location. What we're trying to do is starve and push out the other player. We don't mind too much about the specifics of how we do that right now. But I do think that We could take another attack card. Do we want to take another attack card? I Oh, I don't know. That one might be pushing it too much. We don't need the wood, though. We don't need the stone, but we could work towards having the other favor card, which might be beneficial for us. So let's take the rat. I think let's take the rat. We're going to place the rat over here. That's going to score us 1 point, moving us towards getting the extra 2 points in a minute. It's also going to allow us to get 2 wood back, which is going to put us back into a position where we can do another build. We could convert our stone into a wood and a food, and this is the thing. What we've got now is an engine that's just generating resources, but we aren't really working towards using those resources. So I think that for us, we're in a strange, curious position where we could just build now, but our goals aren't that. We need another Hand of Vesh, we need another Hope Breaker, and once we've got that, maybe we can push that building, because the game is not too far away from ending at this point, and I want to be mindful of that. We're coming back over to our blue player. I believe that was everything over there, and our blue player is now like, okay, cool, I can build. And you know what? I think it's time we finally brought Russell to the table, because Russell's not been out for a little while, and we're going to come over to here because we can get the favor token and start building. We could arguably go over to here and then try and push to fill this clearing, and maybe that'd be helpful, but I think that first we're going to come over here, do a build, make sure we've got the building in place for that. So we're going to spend 1 food on Lila. That's going to allow us to move over to here. That's going to allow us to take our last favor token, and we can take one of these cards. I don't think we're going to fill these 2 clearings by the end of the game. The same number of buildings in 2 different places. We could do that if we just built one thing here and then focused on those. That would connect these 2 up, so that could be okay. Have the most windmills. I mean, it's kind of looking in our direction right now, but I don't know. Have 3 rats in markets. I don't believe we've worked towards that. Have the most villages and 2 clearings. We're definitely going to be able to achieve that. I say that, I mean, at the moment we've only done it in 1, but it's only going to be 6 points. I think that have the same number of buildings in 2 clearings is going to be more beneficial for us. So what I'm going to do is just clear those ones off, and I'm just going to stick this one here for the time being, just to make sure that it's still within your view. And then that's just the beginning. Then Russell's coming into play. Russell, the glorious Russell, is going to come out over here and is going to give us an extra wood stat, and that is going to allow us on play to spend 1 of our wood. Now we're spending that wood to do the build. We're going to use 4 wood and a beehive, and finally our boathouse is coming out. Our boathouse is just going to come over here. We don't really mind too much about where it is. We are going to put a rabbit onto that boathouse that's going to give us a stone and another stone for that bonus. That is going to give us 2 stone, and we're simply going to gain 1 point for the privilege of building that. And that's a good turn. We've managed to move, we managed to get a favor card, we managed to do a building, clear up our resources. Finally, we've got all of the space we need, and it feels so empty over here. Our board is freer, we've got more room, and we've got more objectives to work towards. We're going to move this one over here. We're going to clear these over. We're going to try not to kill the bunny rabbits on the board, because this is not a game of violence. This is a game of rebuilding homes in the forest. Let's place these out. Home exactly 3 rats. That could be really good for our white player, and have exactly 3 buildings in Hawker's Crossing. This is Hawker's Crossing. That is very, very achievable as well for both players right now. Okay, so our white player, still just so much endless resource. They could just build and build and build, but do they want to? Maybe they need to come down here and get this banner. That is high on their to-do list right now. And they also want to make sure that ideally they've built here before this happens as well. This would give them the full range of 6. So what are our walking options? We could, you know, old Hops could come out, bringing him back into play, because we've not used him for a little while. That would allow us to where do we want to put him? I think over here. Let's get him right back. Let's place him there. It's going to allow us to walk down to this place. I wish we had got that favor card at some point. We need to work that out so we can get that. That's extra points just sitting there if we can grab something that's going to work for us. And I know how we're going to do it. I've worked out what we're going to do. We're going to spend a stone, place it onto Hops. Now we're going to build something. Again, we don't really care. We're just building for the sake of building. But what we are going to do is we're going to build a windmill. We're going to use up our food and push out these windmills because these are limited. And the more windmills we build, the less windmills the other player can build. And we know that is going to be problematic for them. So that's going to give us our windmill. If we then take a rat, place the rat on there, that's going to score us 1 point, allowing us to take a favor card, and that's going to allow us to take the home exactly 3 rats card, and we've just homed our 3rd rat. So that is going to work perfectly for us, ending our turn. And you know what, right now I have got no idea who's going to win this game. We are keeping neck and neck, but the difference in strategies, our blue player has gone all out over here and built this huge area and then punished themselves for it, really, and we've only just got out of that punishment. Our white player has gone full out into the clearing the dangerous areas, and they still have a way to go. They still need this Hand of Vesh, they still need that other Hope Breaker, and there's no guarantees that they're going to get it. Really, they want to clear this Hand of Vesh, then come around here, get the favor token, and then clear this Hope Breaker, triggering the trophy and getting them their sets completed. But will they have the ability to do that? Our blue player is going, and what are they working towards now? We've got to get the same number of buildings. So we don't want to build another thing here. So I think that we should remind ourselves now, and let's just spend a food and let's just move out of this clearing. We can move 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could just move to here. Maybe we want to move here, build in here, and maybe claim the 3 buildings in Hawker's Crossing. That is very viable for us, especially if we home a rabbit. We need to home a rabbit and a frog rabbit and an owl anyway. So maybe that's going to be a good option for us. But first, we now need to start generating some resources. And funnily enough, both of our food gatherers are on the board, so we're not going to be able to use those. And after all of this trouble, all of the trouble we've had trying to get wood, we're now going to bring Wisp into play, who's going to generate us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wood. So at the point where we don't really need the wood anymore, the wood is the way that we are going, and that is going to allow us to start building up some other stuff, which is great because the windmills are starting to run out on us. I think we're probably going to have to do a slide in a minute though, because we do need to try and get these building cards back. 2 of our 3 building cards are in play. The other one requires food, which we no longer have because our food generators are all on the board. Back to our white player. They are really ready to line up this attack. They need to do 7. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they play Vin is going to allow them to do 6. But the 6 is then into 9 because of the ability of the skill, which is then going to allow him to clear this one out, giving him 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, which is fantastic news. This is then going to allow him to come over here, and you know what? We're going to get more food. Let's keep starving those windmills out. Let's get those windmills out of the way for us. That is going to do that. That gets us our 2 Hands of Etch. We need 1 more Hope Breaker. We're 1 more away from the trophy, and we've triggered the 2 points per area. Now, our white player has carefully built up to achieve this, getting 6 of them, giving him 12 points, bringing him up to 56. Our blue player has unfortunately only got 1, 2, 3, 4, only rewarding them with 8 points, bringing them to 45. So suddenly our white player is pushing further and further ahead and really trying to get there. And they've done a good job on their favor cards, so they're not too far behind. They're lower scoring, but they have got them going. Our blue player hasn't. That's a great turn over for our white. Our blue player is there, and now they really need to clear this up, but also could they steal a trophy? Do they have the ability to do 5? They have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do they have the attack card? They do have an attack card. We didn't even consider this as an option. It has just come up for us, and we are just going to do it. We're just going to clear it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't even care if this is a good decision for us or not. It takes it away from the other player. It gets it to us. It clears off the Hope Breaker, meaning they might not be able to get it. It's going to claim us 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And it's going to allow us to get the resources that we so desperately needed, allowing us to take the food one. The food trophy is going to come back up here. That is going to give us 4 food, which is going to be great because now we have the ability to trigger the food building. However, we don't have space for it, so we are now going to be a little bit stuck. Maybe we have over-resourced. Our white player is also going to get to take one of these, and we are going to get 5 points for the trophy, bringing them up to 54. So suddenly that gap has closed straight back down, and I was not actually expecting that in the slightest. Okay, so that is our blue player. The dangerous area track is also going to reset, so we're just 6 buildings away now from the end of the game. It is really starting to heat up, and we are going to clear these off. Oh my goodness. Okay, so our white player, they need one more hope breaker, and then they've got to get the same number of markets and boathouses. I hadn't been thinking about this. They've currently got 1 boathouse. They've got 2 boathouses. Oh my goodness, so they need to build up 2 markets. So we've been building those windmills, just trying to chuck them out there, but actually we need to build up 2 markets, which is a challenge. Okay, we could possibly get 1 from this additional, but there, we need to get a stone, and we've been throwing away all of our stone. The amount of times I've been saying, hey, we don't need that resource, who cares about that resource? But actually, we do. I completely lost track of that one. I am trying to keep a track of, 15, 16 different favor cards right now, but that one is really, really key. We've done our 3 rabbits, we've got the banners, we need the hope breaker. What has come out for us? There's a hope breaker here. That has got to be a must. I think we're going to try and snatch that to make sure we've got that done. Then we're going to need to get some stone so we can build up a market, maybe use the home additional bonus to try and get the other market out if we can before the game ends. And our blue player, I think they're doing fine with all of their stuff. I think they still need to get an owl and a rabbit out, and outside of that, I think that they are doing okay. They need to not build anything else here. They want to build these up. So for them now, they want to push through the game. They want to get it done and over so they can claim victory. They're going to do a slide. That's going to allow them to walk. That's going to allow them to walk. They want to build where they are. They're eyeing up the Hawker's Crossing. So we're going to move that across. Do we want to spend a food to gather a stone? I don't think we do. I think we're happy with just what we've got. I don't think we need to do that. So yeah, this is just going to be a very straightforward slide across. We could convert some wood into a stone just to build another town hall. There's no real benefits in building another town hall at this point for us, but maybe it would just be worthwhile. But I think that's going to be okay. So not a great turn, but we are in a great position, and that's all that really matters at this point. I feel like we've got some really good options coming up. Our white player, they want to get that. That is just a must, and then they can get going with some building. But what do we have? We do have the ability to do the attack. Do we want to do the attack and then maybe come up here and just get the 6 points? Because that's, 6 points for 1 clear attack is just a fantastic amount. But we could just do a building first whilst we're down here to get some points up, get another villager out, and get some more stuff going. But again, I don't know if we really need to right now. So let's just do the attack. We're going to use the attack. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to copy it over Vins. That means we're going to do an attack of 9. So we could take this one, which is 2 extra points, but we do want that hope breaker, and that is just going to simply get us our 3 points, 1, 2, 3, and it is then going to get us down here to take even more resources. We're simply just going to take 1 wood, and that's a nice simple turn, but now our cards are done. We're happy with our cards. We don't want to home any more rats. We don't want to home any more rabbits. We've got to be very mindful of that for the rest of the game. We do need to build up some markets. So we need to do another attack to get the stone to build the market, to trigger the home additional to get another market. And I think that that's okay. Our blue player, on the other hand, they just want to start doing some attacking and some building, and they don't really have the option to just yet. But we are over here. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swords. So what I'm thinking is we're going to play Bim over here on the attack space, who is our spend food to be able to build a sliding card. And if we just do that, we can spend it on the attack, do an attack of 5, clear this one off, which is simply just going to give us 3 points. We're not too worried about that, but we can move that over here to get 2 food. So now we're in a situation where we can start getting our food out, and that food can then be used each time we slide to trigger Bim. So as long as we can keep on top of our resources, we can now do 1, 2, 3, 4 slides, and within that do 5 builds if we had the resources, which is, you know, that's a really great straightforward situation to be in. So I think that that's good over there. Coming back to our white player, so they want to get some stone, they want to build their market, so we don't have the ability to attack. I mean, we could use this space to do the attack. Do we really want to do that to get the stone? I mean, again, it's 5 points for this attack, so why not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're going to, let's put Poppy over there. We don't need the resources. We could spend the wood to be able to do the walk, but this is going to allow us to do an attack. It's going to be plenty enough to do this one over here. That is going to give us 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More importantly, it's going to allow us to come down here, and that's going to allow us to take 2 stone. We'll take the 2 stone, and you know what? I'm going to get rid of 1 wood and the beehive at this point. I don't think we need those beehives anymore. We've got ourselves sorted for resources. These markets here really are just useful if you get stuck on trying to get that resource generation going, but that's gone really well. That's going to allow me to home an additional villager. Who are we going to home? We could home the owl, which would give us more stone, but we want to do that because we want to get the 3 owls out. What on earth am I doing? I keep thinking to myself, oh, I don't need stone, so let's not worry about it. I mean, we do need stone because we've just done all this to get stone, but more importantly, if we get 2 more owls out, it's going to be 12 points for us. So we should definitely be working towards that. Where are we going to put this owl? At this point, we don't worry about being in different areas. We've already achieved this, so we just put it over here. That's going to give us 3 different areas, 1, 2, and 3. And for our blue player, they get to home someone additional. Are they going to do the rabbit or are they going to do the owl? The question is, if we do the owl, it's just going to give us stone that we're going to throw away. So that's fine. We could do that right now. If we do the rabbit, that's going to allow us to take a favor card. The question is, though, which favor card would we take? We're not going to have at least 3 rats in markets because we just don't have that. Are we going to have the most villagers and 2 clearings? Well, funnily enough, right now, we are not achieving that. And maybe we will, but I don't know. Have exactly 3 buildings in Hawker's Crossing. This one is such a gamble, and here's why. Because there's 3 spaces, the white player could come and take one of those spaces from us. We'd have no control. This is the last home additional, so I could home an additional person here now, and then we only need to build 2, but that means that that other space may never get filled, and the other player could come and take it. Excuse me. So are we going to restrict ourselves in that way? Have 1 owl in 4 different places? Again, I don't think we're going to do that. We've got 2 here. Are we really going to get 3 more owls out before the end of the game? And then 3 points per copy of the card. It is extraordinarily difficult right now. So I think that the option is to home the owl. Let's not worry about the favor cards just now. Let's home the owl. And if we put the owl over here, that's going to be a nice, straightforward, 1, 2, 3, 4 points for us. 1, 2, 3, 4 points for us. And we don't need to worry too much about whether we do this. Maybe with the rabbits, we can try and work towards this. But if we can get 3 more rabbits out, because we need 3 more buildings to do that, that's going to give us 2 points for each building over here. So our goal now, our only goal right now, is to get 3 more rabbits out. And if we can get them out over here, try and take this building. But that is that. And I got to remember where we were. I think we were just over here. We did Poppy, we did the attack that cleared the area, that gave us the points, that gave us the stone to build the markets, to trigger the home additional. We homed the additional, and then we triggered the additional for the blue player. So now it's over to the blue player, and our blue player is working out what they want to do. So they really, I mean, they're in that situation though where they can do so much building if they have the resources. But are they going to be able to keep on top of the resources whilst doing all of the building? And that is my concern. So I think right now, we do just do 1 slide. We do that 1 slide just to get that first building going. So we're going to slide Zor, who's going to allow us to spend food to stone we don't want to do. We're going to spend Lila, getting her back into our hand, bringing Bumbles over, setting up the build. And this is where things could work well for us, because we're now going to spend 2 food, and that 2 food is going to allow us to do a build with Bim. And with that build, we are going to spend, I think we're going to spend 4 wood. If we spend 4 wood, that allows us to place a house, and we can very carefully just place a house over here. And what I'm thinking to myself is, our next slide allows us to do 2 builds, as long as we have 2 food. So if we had enough resource to do that, we would be able to. And at the moment, we've built in 1, 2, 3, 4 areas. So as much as it's not within what we're trying to do, I don't want to give up the idea that we're working towards this card. I don't want the white player to have an idea that we're trying to do that. So instead, if I home a frog onto that, that's going to give us 1 point, but that is going to give us 4 additional food. And that 4 additional food is not quite enough, is it? That would be enough. We'd be what? We're 2 food away. 2 food away. Oh, that is really, really painful. I was hoping that might be enough, but maybe we still play it. I think that we still play it. I don't think we want to give it away, because as soon as we put the rabbit there and take that card, those 2 spots are dangerous for us. Back over to our white player. They just have the ability to build, and I think they're going to build, and they're going to build in the build spot with the build card. You can decide which way around they're going to do it. They are going to take their 4 food, they're going to take their stone, and they're going to build a market. And oh my god, on that last turn, we were meant to use that home additional to build a market, weren't we? I don't remember what we did. I think we put it somewhere else. Oh no. Okay, so we've got 1, 2 boathouses and no market. So now we need to build another market. Oh my goodness. Oh, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you stop me? Okay, that's not great news for us. So we need to build another market. How on earth are we going to do that? Well, we're going to get 2 points for building this building. Who are we going to put on it? What are we going to do? Are we going to try and get... No, we've got to do the owls. Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting we need the owls because we need to unlock the owl bonus. Okay, so our purpose in life now is to build another market once again and to clear 2 dangerous areas. And their purpose in life is to fill this up. So I think both players are so actively working towards their own thing now that they don't really care about what the other player's doing so much. I think, though, that we really care, because we want to get 3 more guys out, and that's going to be a real challenge for us right now. And annoyingly, like, our rat could score us points for our wood, our frog could score us points for our food. Am I just pushing too much in the wrong direction? Maybe we should just be working towards those. Just homing that frog right now could score us 8 points, which is more than the card is worth. Well, it's the same as what the card's worth that I'm trying to get. Oh, I think, though, as is tradition, let's give ourselves a bit of flexibility. Let's get Maple into play, and let's use Maple to get Lila into play. Lila allowing us to spend food to walk, and at the same time gathering us 1, 2, 3 food. And we're going to take that 3 food, and we are going to... You know what? I'm going to place her over here instead. And that will... No, it's not. That's the wood icon. Yeah, we'll do that. Well, that's going to give us 3 food. Let's take 1. Let's take 2. We'll dump the stone, because we might need that wood for Russell at one point in the future. Let us do that. That is really setting up well. So now, on that slide, we have the ability to do the double build. The double build would allow us to place the rabbit to get the card to fill the space, maybe trigger the frog to score the points. So what's this over here going to be worth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 16 points if we get those 3 rabbits out. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we definitely want to be working towards doing that. I think we're in a good place. Our white player is going to slide. They are going to get to spend 1 wood to get 2 food. And they're going to just keep doing this, because then they're going to spend 1 food to get 2 wood. I think, or they're going to keep it. No, they will spend that to get 2 wood, because then what they can do, and we plan this for sure, we're going to use Sprout, we're going to convert our wood into food to get ourselves that other market built. That is going to give us 4 food. We've got the stone, so now we're in a situation where we can afford to build that market, which is really, really important to us. This is going to come across, this is coming across, this is coming across, this is coming, and this is coming, clearing up this space. That's going to allow us to get the build. excuse me, we get the building done, get the owl out, claim it, then we go on kill and we get 2 more things from that, claiming the points from those, maybe clearing this one for the 6 points and seeing what else we can do. I think that's our plan. Our blue player is desperate to get this double build going, and they're just going to do it. They're going to do a slide. So the slide is going to happen. That's going to allow them to build. They're going to spend 4 food, and that is going to allow them to build a windmill. I didn't even look to see if we had enough windmills. Luckily we do. Building that windmill is going to allow them to then home the rabbit. The rabbit is going to score them 2 immediate points. That is going to allow them to take the have 3 buildings in this area. We're simply going to place that one over there now because I believe we're good with everything we've done. This is going to then give us a stone for homing that rabbit. That's going to come to our hand. Lila's going to do nothing. We can convert wood across. We don't want to do. We could go for a walk. We definitely don't want to do it. Bim's going to come in. Bim is an interesting decision because now we can spend 2 food and then we can spend our 4 food and a stone to build a market to give us a different type of building, taking the rabbit, placing it there, scoring us 3 points, 1, 2, 3 points for that, and then that's going to give us a beehive. Now we're in a situation where I think for our blue player, if we get that rabbit out, I think we're going to win the game. But the question is, are we going to have time? Because this is giving us 5 points. That's going to move us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points up. It's going to give us 4 wood. But the problem is that we are 2 attacks away from the game ending. Our white player is going to get a wood as well. And, you know, I really don't know. And that was an amazing turn by our white player. I think that was probably, I mean, what, like 15, 20 points potentially coming through from that singular turn, or at least setting up for the ability to do so. Our white player is really in a challenging place now because they need to get some extra points. They need to clear away these dangerous areas. They need to be ahead by the end of the game. They need to build. They need to get this. Is there anything they can do with that to get points? Have at least 3 boathouses. We're not going to do. Have the most villages and 2 clearings. We've got the most there. We've got the most here. So actually, this first card is 6 points for us. So all we got to do is to get there, which is currently a movement of 1, 3, 5, 1, 4. So we could get there for a movement of 4, and we could use Poppy to walk up there, which is possibly the option. So we can move up there, and then we could build up there, get that, build the market, clear some dangerous areas, but we want to probably clear this one. So then are we going to be stuck in the wrong place? Our cards are nothing. So we're going to be using the build or the attack options here. Oh my goodness, that is a tough one. I think though, this is important. This is okay. That's okay. I mean, this is only 2 points different to that one. And if we take that one, we're not going to be able to get this one as well. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to spend a wood onto Poppy. That's going to allow us to move 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. We're going to take this. We're going to take have the most villagers. I don't think there's anything else we've got. We've got a rat there, a rat there, a rat there, but we're only homing 3 rats. Have 1 owl in 4 different clearings. We've got an owl, an owl, an owl. Maybe that's better for us. Yes, that is it. That's the one we want, isn't it? That is an extra 4 points because we're going to put the owl. The entire purpose is to have the owl. We've got 1 owl, 2 owls, 3 owls. This will be our 4 owls. Suddenly, this turn is feeling fantastic because we're going to play Sprout down, and this is where white is going to absolutely explode on us because we're going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 food. We're going to spend the stone, and that is then going to allow us to build the market that we need to build. That's going to give us 1, 2 markets versus our 1, 2 boathouses to have the same number of markets and boathouses. We're going to place this over here. Let's stick it over on this spot. That is going to give us 2 points for building it. We're going to place our owl on it, which is going to give us our 4 owls, and maybe white is going to come back. I thought that blue was going to snatch it with that rabbit trick, but this owl trick is coming up much more powerful. That is going to be 2 points for that, and then 3 points per different type of war banner. That is going to be an additional 12 points, bringing us up to 83 points. We are 1 point away from triggering that. We are so close. We can now do some attacking to clear these off, and I think that that is possibly going to be bringing us right back up. But our blue player is not done, and they are not out. What do they want to do? They want to get that rabbit out. So for them, They've got the resources. Can they do the build? They've got the build card in their hand. So I think just like the white player did, they are now going to spend one of their food and they're going to place it onto Lider. Lider's then going to allow them to walk. That's going to allow them to walk up to 2 spaces. It doesn't really matter where we go. Let's come up to here. Then we're going to be able to play a build card. And you know, I'm really tempted. Who are we going to build with? Should we build with Bumbles? Should we build with Russell? I think... Oh, I've got a plan. I have a plan. Let us build with... Oh, this is beautiful. Let us build with Iron Rack. We've not used Iron Rack yet. We can spend the beehive to reduce the cost of our build by 2, and we're only then going to have to spend 2 wood to then we can put out a house. That house is only going to cost us 2. We're going to stick it over here. We're going to put our bunny rabbit into it. That's going to score us 2 points per area where we have a thing. And oh my goodness, that is going to be... Is this going to work out in my head? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's going to be close. That... I'm just looking if we can do what I want to do. We've got... Oh, it's going to be close. So that is going to build. That's going to allow us to home our rabbit. It's going to score us 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 points for our blue player. That is going to bring them up to 88, triggering this action here at the end of their turn. And this is what I'm thinking about, because this allows them to activate the on-play ability of any card on their board at the end of the turn. Okay, this is really interesting. So in my hand, I am looking. We have currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swords. Zor would be the 7th, and this has got 8 health. I was trying to see if there was a way that we could snatch it out, but I don't think there is. We have to home that rabbit. If we home the owl, then we would be able to do it. But I think... But that's 16 points. Can I really not claim the 16 points from the rabbit? Oh, it's a tricky one. It really is, because I'm thinking we could do the attack. We could do an attack. We play that, which activates that, which gives us this, which allows us to trigger that. But that is only 1, 2, 3, 4. We would have to do a build, and we don't have the ability to do a build, do we? Do we have the ability to do... We do. Okay. Interesting. We've got some plans. What are we doing? We could play anything. So what I'm kind of thinking is we could use Maple's ability. So we're now on the ability to play something, to do something, which means that before the end of our turn, rather than doing that, what we could do instead is we could activate Iron Rack now. If we activate Iron Rack now, that would allow us to do an attack. These don't mean anything for us, so let's play that on Iron Rack before we trigger the end of turn bonus. That's going to allow us to do an attack. That's going to allow us to attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is what I was trying to figure, because if we could have done 8, we could have cleared this, and then for our free action we could have cleared this one, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. So instead we are going to clear... Oh, I think we've got it, people. We're going to clear that one. That is going to give us 3 points for our blue player. 1, 2, 3 points. Not fantastic. It's going to move this down here. That is going to give them free food. Then what they're going to do again before the end of their turn is they're going to spend this onto Lila. That's going to allow them to do a walk. They're then going to walk down here. They're then going to trigger the use your action because it's the end of their turn. They're done. Obviously, these should all have reset. I don't think it really matters at this point, but just so you can see 2 more cards, they're then going to use the activate the playability of another card, and they're going to use that to activate Maple. That's going to allow them to play a new card, and that card is going to be Zor, who's going to do an attack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in our new location that we've moved to. And in fact, if we move over here instead, if rather than going there, we come over here, that's going to allow us to clear this one, breaking it off from the white player, claiming us 1, 2, 3, 4 additional points, moving us down to claim the trophy, giving us 5 additional points, and the stone for the trophy that we've taken, which is not going to be important to us because that is going to trigger the end of the game. The white player was not expecting that. No one was expecting that. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points from that. And that is the end of the blue player's turn, triggering the end of the game. They got their rabbit out. They managed to clear 2 dangerous areas and claim the trophy. And now the white player has 1 action left. The game has ended, but because we triggered this, they get 1 more action, and there is nothing in range for them to be able to attack. Do they have the ability to walk? They could spend some food to walk. What do they have in their hand? But they can't do that. They can only use what's on here. They could attack using Vin. They've got so many swords. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swords. That would be an attack of 9, which does mean they could do this. So they likewise will spend the wood. They are going to move across to here. They're then going to use the attack action of Vin to clear this, to claim 6 points themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. But they get no reward because this resets at the end of the turn. And that is the end of the game. And I think the blue player snatched it. I think that last turn just absolutely exploded for our blue player. But let's see, let us add up our points, and all we got to do now is just check where our favor cards ended. I'm going to bring these ones over here for our blue player, and I'm going to bring these ones over here for our white player, and I feel like our blue player has snatched it. They were so good at the start, and then the middle they struggled, and at the end they've just had this wildly explosive kind of turn. So let's see where our white player has ended up. 4 different banners they did achieve. That is going to give them 8 points. We've then got 4 hope banners, which they did, and that is going to bring them up to here. We've then got the most war banners, which they definitely achieved, bringing them up to 113. 2 banners from Vesh, which they do have, bringing them up to 22. 1 hour and 4 different clearings, which was a fantastic last grab for them, bringing them up to 32, homing the 3 rats, which they have done, another 7 points, 139, the same number of boathouses and markets. There's the same there, there's none here. There is 1 boathouse here, 1 market here, and then that, I believe, is that, scoring them another 8 points, and then home exactly 3 rabbits, 7 more points. That's 154, which is a fantastic score for them. I will let them claim their temporary placeholder 100 point token, and they are 154 points. Over to our blue player. They need to get 54 points from these cards, and that, I think they're probably going to have done it, but let's have a look. So 7, if you have the same number of buildings in 2 clearings, they've got 1 here and 1 there. So that is going to be 7 points for them, claiming their placeholder 100 point token. 1 town hall that touches 3 boathouses, which is the huge scoring card for them, bringing them to 121. 3 buildings in Hawker's Crossing, and that might have been the snatch. That double build was fantastic for them. 3 of each villager type, and they have got at least 3 of each, which is 12. You know, I think that they have absolutely walked away with this. 7 points for this one, having the most villagers homed. We've got 1 windmill that touches 2 windmills, another 7 points over there. 3 town halls, at least another 10 points over there, and then 2 frogs, 2 owls, and 2 rats in the same clearing. 14 points, bringing him up to 179, which I can assure you is an incredible score. I probably cheated a few times during this, obviously keeping track of 2 players, trying to commentate and keeping that flow going. I'm sure there were a few hiccups, but wow, this is one of the things that I really love about this game. The flow comes with what you get out. With our blue player, we really focused early on those few favor cards. We managed to work heavily towards them, but we realized that we were going too deeply into it, and we were struggling because we couldn't get out of it. And once we achieved them, we had nothing to work with and nothing to aim for. So we had to kind of rethink. We took a step back. We cleared our decks. We tried to just take a few simple turns to build back up, and then we got the engine going, and just in the end we did that fantastic double build over here when we got these buildings in, claiming that card, setting us up to do that movement over to here to get the rabbit out, to get the huge scoring, and then to trigger the end, which allowed us to do that double attack to steal those last trophies. And that really is where a lot of it came in, because if you think about it, the difference was 25 points. And in that last turn, I think we claimed what, 4 points from that banner, 3 points from that, 7 points from that. That rabbit scored us 16 points, so that was 23 points. Building the building was 6 points, 25 points. I can't remember what number we were on. Another one over here was 30 odd points. We took it away from the white player as well. So that was a huge swing. But then with our white player, we came out of the decks. We were fighting and clearing, pushing things away. We stole that early building spot to fill that clearing from the blue player, and we started clearing out all of those dangerous areas. We were really pushing ahead, and we were doing so well. For a long time we were ahead. Then it was quite neck and neck. Then we had that big explosive turn when we got our owls out and we realized that we could get that fourth owl and those 4 clearings out to get the extra different types of war banner scoring bonuses, and our blue player really pushed ahead. But that last turn, we didn't expect the blue player to trigger the end when they did, and it really came back. Oh my goodness, like, there's so many layers and stuff, but you don't need me telling that to you. If you're still here now, you've hopefully watched the entire video or tuned in for the end, and I really hope you enjoyed this playthrough. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to ask them below in the comments, and until next time, keep on adventuring.